Putting a bunch of videos on my YouTube channel today. I'm gonna do the way that I test. I think it's in the stances, blocks, kicks, and punches videos, somewhere along the lines, but this is a gray belt. Normally I have students prove to me that they want to pursue a black belt or are interested in martial arts before I get them or they get a gray belt. And they can be a white belt, you know, if they just want to take a lesson from me, and then they're my white belt and I feel defensive and protective of them until they're a black belt and they can defend themselves and teach others. And then once you've kind of proven to me in 4, 5, or 6 sessions or even less that you want to pursue a black belt, you can defend yourself basically, you can wear gray belts. And gray belts have 3 stripes. And the first black stripe on a gray belt is stances. That you know your stance and some karate stances and stances like that in order to help you defend yourself. The second stripe, black stripe on a gray belt, are blocks, and that's you've proven to me to use blocks that I find effective to defend yourself. And then the third stripe is kicks and then punches, but it's 1 stripe. And it's to be able to basically strike people in order to defend yourself or others, if only if absolutely necessary, or just because you love martial arts or MMA or you want to compete competitively. And the way that I do it is I train in a cat pose, but I try to help you find your stance, your fighting stance, and develop your own unique fighting style. So when we're working on blocks and then kicks and then punches, I work on countering first, and then I work on being the aggressor or a karate, and depending on what your primary discipline is. And that's all in the third stripe. So in the third stripe, you have kicks, punches, you have counters, and you have kind of ins or being the aggressor and how to use those strikes. And then when you're a triple black stripe, we work on defending grapples, and then we work on how to grapple in the community, and then how to use, you know, self-defense tactics and stuff like that. And then I'll get you a black belt, or you can buy your own black belt, however that works. This is my black belt. It's a judo black belt because my weapons enhancement is actually long distance shooting. I like firearms. You know, 10th degree black belts, I think, in different schools of Japan are actually weapons enhancements. My weapons enhancement is firearms. I'm an American, and I safely and responsibly like to sport shoot. I mean, I'll serve in the military if necessary. I own several world records, actually. I think 3 or 4 for muzzleloader long-distance shooting, and I enjoy sports shooting. And I respect Russian sniping with the way that I was raised in kind of self-defense of our country. So I have a judo black belt, even though I really don't know judo that well. That's my black belt, and if I get you a black belt, or if you test into a black belt, it's trusting you to be able to use an edged weapon to defend yourself, only if absolutely necessary, because normally I don't find carrying a weapon necessary in the United States of America for self-defense at all, if you know martial arts. And normally with a knife, the way that I teach karate, it's really just deterrence, you know, like firearms are a lot of the time for people, just to say, hey, listen, I don't want to get in a fight, can you walk away, please? You know, that's trusting you with an edged weapon, because if you know karate, it can be over really, really quick, and it's just not a joke to have that type of deadly force. But that's testing into a black belt, is trusting the student to teach their own way, to have their own fighting style, and to wield an edged weapon if they have to defend themselves, which looks like a knife of sorts that they could purchase for themselves. And then I encourage them to do their own weapons enhancement. So if they want a triple red stripe or a 5 white stripe, they could do nunchucks or scythes or swords or something if they want to teach themselves that on top of Okami. I know how to use a staff, like basic stuff, but it's just not something that I've worked into my spiel and belts.